sexes. Now, I've been hearing a lot of people recently talking about himbos. And you know, when I first found out about the word himbo like a month ago, it's not a dead meme, but it's kind of old. Himbos are the male equivalent of a bimbo. Now, calling someone a bimbo typically means you are calling them a woman, attractive, and not smart. And it just has a general negative context. But himbo doesn't kind of have this context. It's actually typically used in a nice way. It's like, oh, look at him, he's such a himbo. And you're typically saying that to go, oh, well, perhaps he isn't always catching on to things very well, but he's super nice, brawny, and strong. And here's the thing. I'm sure the first thing a lot of like feminists and people of the sort thought of when they heard this, they were like, why is it when men are attractive and not smart, they are praised as the magical himbo, but when women are doing so, it is derogatory? Here's the difference. Some people have taken, because himbo is so popular and like himbo is cool, a himbo is a nice guy, himbos are chill. We've decided to go, oh, well, thembos, or our non-binary pals, thembos, great. Also, brawny, perhaps not the brightest or just can't catch on to things very well, but sweet, cool people. And some people have gone to herbos, and some people just keep bimbo for women. I'm not the biggest fan of keeping bimbo because, well, to be honest, first bimbo was used for men. Like, the word bimbo came out from bambino in the Italian community in like the 20s. You used that to talk about a dude who wasn't that smart, but who was brawny. Hair malfunctions. I don't know what. I look like Coconut Head. First, the word was used in like the 1920s. It was bambino by the Italians.
I formally apologize to the Italian community on behalf of the Coconut Head community.
First it was bambino, an Italian baby. Then it went to bimbo, which is a man who's got the brains of a baby. And then we applied it to women. And for some reason, it's attractive and not very smart. And I don't know why this word has a negative connotation. You looked at the woman and deemed her attractive, and the second she wasn't smart, now she's a bimbo? So it's not cool when a woman is hot and not smart. But here's the thing, when a woman is hot and smart and she still says no to you, you're still gonna call her a bimbo or some other derogatory term. It's not my vibe. It's not the vibe. And neither is it Gen Z's vibe. It's not internet culture's vibe. Because we made himbos. We looked at all of the characters and men around us, and we were like, these are brawny, cool guys. We love, very lovable. I've never seen a himbo that wasn't lovable and emotionally vulnerable. But we went, you know what? He might not always be the smartest, but we love him. And he's it. He's tight with the crew. He's a himbo. Now, according to my quick Google search, Mashable.com says notable himbos include Kronk from Emperor's New Groove, whom we stand. Sokka from Avatar The Last Airbender. He kind of invented zeppelins and like submarines and other stuff in the show. I don't know why we think he's dumb, but you know what? We can count him as a himbo, whom we stand. And Jason Mendoza in The Good Place, which I have not seen. Also, they cite himbo as Mr. Peanut Butter in BoJack Horseman. Maybe not in the later seasons where he kind of messes up on quite a few issues, including oil fracking. I will say one himbo who absolutely has personified this since 1969 is Fred from Scooby-Doo. Think about it. Broadest shoulders of any man you've ever seen. You know, and he's supposed to be the attractive one, all like that. Man he's going, let's search for clues, gang.
Let's split up and look for more clues.
Like, he's got a good energy, good vibe. I've never seen him be like upset or just mad about everything in the world. He generally takes everything in stride. He's pretty chill. But man isn't solving the crimes. Velma is. That's why it's always like, Daphne, Velma. I always hate when they're like, oh, why does he just pair off with Daphne? He typically takes Velma. Typically it's just Scooby and Shaggy just chilling. And he takes Fred and Velma. What a player. But here's the thing, he's not a player. Because what he's doing is thinking about traps. And no, not those kind of traps.
I'm tired of being afraid. I have feelings, world, for traps.
He's thinking about traps he can get the bad guy with. He has one thing he's really into, totally great personality, brawny, handsome, himbo, whom we stand. According to Sci-Fi Wire, George of the Jungle is a himbo. This is the 90s one, apparently. There's a lot of different George of the Jungle. Thor. Yes, Thor is definitely a himbo. Even though I don't even think Thor is dumb. Like, I don't think you really have to be dumb to be a himbo. You just have to be, it's a je ne sais quoi. You can feel it. Like, it's radiating the energy of being dumb without actually being dumb. Gen Z will get this. I'm not sure if I can really communicate this to anyone else. Thor is definitely a himbo, and I'd like to cite the scene where he talks about Loki being a snake.
He transformed himself into a snake, and he knows that I love snakes. So I went to pick up the snake to admire it, and he transformed back into himself, and he was like, yeah, it's me! And he stabbed me.
They even talk about that in the article. They know the snake, that's the himbo energy. That's the himbo. Another notable himbo is Kristoff from Frozen. Big, brawny shoulders, total cool guy, just nice, chill, better than your ex, all like that. But Kristoff, definitely a himbo, because why? He does not know how to propose. The only way he can think about doing it is by doing a boy band single as a one-man show, which, I mean, honestly, it'd work on most of us, especially when it's Jonathan Groff. He'll be back. Here's a himbo I definitely agree with. Tormund Giantsbane. Now, if you don't know who this is by name, I wouldn't have known either. It's the red-headed dude in Game of Thrones who's like the wildling. You know who I'm talking about, just redhead wildling guy. You know. He is definitely a himbo. Here's the thing. He radiates the energy, even though he, is a leader all like that, definitely can be seen as one of the major wildlings in the show. If it's a major character, they probably have some sort of political clout or journey or status, and he doesn't really have status or a family name because they don't really do that north of the wall, so we know that he's just like an important guy, like people look up to him. And at the same time, he's broing it out 24/7. Everyone's bro, not in a bad way. He's not just, that rude frat boy that you meet in college. He's just here to be cool with everybody. everybody, and he really, really likes
Brienne of Tarth.
You know her?
Brienne of Tarth is his lady, who he's never gonna get because she likes Jamie. Girls are always going after Chad. Another himbo, Joey from Friends. Okay, obviously everyone knows he was the attractive guy on the show, brawny, blah, blah, blah. But here's the thing about Joey. Despite Joey being an absolute womanizer, genuinely just, talking to girls just to leave them the next day, which is kind of rude. Be upfront about it. Women typically, you'll find the right one. For every himbo, there's a herbo, etc., etc. But Joey was always not the smartest friend. They made him a lot more exaggerated for like, oh, he's just so dumb in the later seasons. Where in the beginning seasons, it was just like, oh, he just wasn't schooled as much. He had a whole bunch of sisters and just not what he picked up on. He's more of a street smarts kind of guy. In the later seasons, they're just like, nah, he's dumb. This easy character, dumb. That's not how you world build. But he's super nice with his friends. Joey Tribbiani, always cool. He will cry in your arms. He'll cuddle with you on the couch. Ross is totally chill. Himbo. So with all these examples of himbos out of the way, I think it's just important to think about, okay, if himbos are in our culture now, we've got himbos, how long is it gonna last? Is this gonna be Harambe, or is it gonna be Pepe? What's this gonna turn into? Because here's the thing, what it reminds me a lot of with like the himbo thing is kind of like the ironic use of Chad. Because if you don't know, in incel circles, and incels being involuntary celibates, a group of men who believe that, it's so hard for me to talk about, a group of men who believe that they are entitled to women and they have never had intimate relations with a woman. They believe that they never will because the gene pool has screwed them over, and women are hypergamous and they only want the top 10% of men, and that's Chad, and they will never be Chad, and it's a whole thing. Cell groups, Chad of course being the top 10% of men, that was something they talk about. How do I become Chad? Why do girls only want Chad? And once normies started realizing, incels were a thing, they were like, oh, okay, I know that guy, have class with him, he sits at my desk, maybe he's my brother, you probably know an incel somewhere, maybe more or less, but you know one. Or even dudes who technically aren't incels because they've had intimate relationships with a woman. It has to be a woman. You can't be gay and an incel. That's the funny thing. Like, have y'all forgotten about the gays? We picked up on Chad and we went, oh my gosh, this is hilarious. Let's just call everything Chad versus the Virgin. Because it'll go on things that are completely unrelated. Like, it'll be like the pineapple Chad, sweet, gets all the girls, remind them of the tropics, versus the virgin apple, have to crunch into, can't eat with braces, people don't like the sour ones. I mean, you put that in a meme format, I'd be laughing. Like, even though it is somewhat of a meme, it's not necessarily an ironic territory, because the word himbo does have a connotation now. If you go, oh my gosh, yeah, I love that character, but he's such a himbo, I'm gonna be like, oh yeah, me too. I love our fellow himbo. Like, it's a community thing, it's positive, and I do think that it's good that we've already extended himbos to thembos and perhaps herbos, because I think we need more of that. Herbos, strong women who don't always think things through. I want characters like that. You know, we typically only get like the smarter than you wife or the ditzy blonde or whatever else. But there's certain characters that go around. This also applies to men, this applies to theys. Well, we don't really have a lot of that. Non-binary characters or intersex or anything like that, you know? Like, it's kind of slim pickings for you guys. I really do apologize. When it comes to women though, there is this little funny thing where we are still debating over the name, because some people are like, if they're not buff, they're just a bimbo. Why don't we just take back bimbo and make it himbo, but you're a girl and you're not buff, you're just attractive. It's cool. And you know, I get that. I'm just not a big fan of reclaiming words all the time. Like some things, yes, but also other things, no. Like, I think it also does depend on who's saying it. Like, obviously, I'm saying it here. It's not necessarily a slur in all contexts, but it's just diminutive and not very fun. But you know, himbo is fun. I think of himbos, I think of good things. I hear the word bimbo and there is a little bit of a path that's not very fun. It's not the end of the world. It's like, oh, that's gay. Well, it depends on how you say it. You can say, oh, that's gay and mean it in a bad way, but if you do that, I'm gonna go, oh, you're straight and you're probably not fun to hang out with, you know. What does it matter if this is a gay shirt or not, you know? But there is still some discussion about what should we call it if it's not gonna be herbo, because herbo sounds a little weird. Some people are just going, oh, call them herbs. But then, you know, I'm gonna confuse them with spices. You know, I'm a woman. I love cooking. In the video, I'm like, oh, don't stereotype women. Don't call them a bimbo. And then I love cooking because I'm a woman. Now, some people are going, you know, maybe we should only use herbo and that term when it comes to women who love women. And I do understand that sentiment, because there is something about a himbo that is typically straight. I can't think of any non-straight himbos right now. Actually, wait. There is one. He isn't confirmed. He's not out yet. They kind of implied, you know, oh, he's not. But I still think he is. And it's because I didn't touch on him earlier. JFK from Clone High.
Nothing bad ever happens to the Kennedys. What?
You cannot tell me that he didn't love his best friend.
He left me these pants. They're Ponce's pants.
He's bisexual. So, with himbos, you know, I think it's pretty much fun and games. I don't think anyone's really taking himbos to some political extreme yet. I'm sure someone will. People will politicize anything. When you look at the number of himbos on screen versus to the number of bimbos on screen, one being used positively and one being used negatively, is a lot more negative female bimbos than there is himbos. And people are coming out going, let's make this a market. Like, let's make this a trend. Let's make this something real. You know, let's call ourselves it. Let's talk about the energy that we have. That's a good thing. That's a great thing. And I love himbos. I think we absolutely deserve more. But since not a whole lot of media has been coming out, I can't expect it to come down. And I'm sure execs are probably gonna be like, oh, it's such a fad, who cares, whatever. This market's been open for years and it's still open. I suggest to take it up now. Absolutely. We need more, we want more, we're happy to have more. Let's get it going. More himbos, and thembos, and herbos. But himbos are allowed to have things. You can like traps, or be an inventor like Sokka. You don't have to be dumb to be an umbo. You just have to have the energy. Again, energy is something hard to describe. But generally, what having an Umbo energy means is that sometimes you're doing great, you're smart, then you get into certain social situations. It's almost always social. It's never something like, oh yeah, you know, you can't get your math test. I mean, sometimes it is, but people genuinely don't really talk about that much in media or things like that. You know, it's just not fun to talk about. You don't want to tell the kid who got a C, oh, you're not smart because you don't know calculus. Calculus is hard. Do you want to know how many years we didn't have calculus and we were doing, well, I don't want to say we were doing fine, but do you want to know how many years we existed without calculus? Like over thousands of years we didn't have calculus. And then some dude invented it out of nowhere, some Isaac Newton or somebody, and was just like, yeah, let's do calculus. You can be smart and not know calculus. And we don't want to shame those people. That doesn't make you an Umbo. It just means that math can be hard. Sometimes you don't have good instructors, you're just not primed for it in the brain, etc., etc. The energy of the Umbo is not knowing what's going on. Your friends are fighting. What do? Share one brain cell with someone and come up with a plan that isn't gonna work, but out of good intentions. And that's one of the big parts of Umbo energy. Good intentions, wanting to do good, to be there, just to be tight. And that's why I think we need to be more like the Umbos. Let's be positive, let's be communal, let's get some brawn if we feel like it. But let's get together as a community. Share one brain cell in social situations so we're all awkward together, and be Umbos. Because the world knows